hero of my cake. Independent leader made a way. I'm the people's voice, hip hip parade. Stuck to my pace, the turtle win the race. There's trophies on trophies, views from the townscape. Change is great, break, then I had to skate. God told me time to go elevate. Chosen child, I'm the champ now, not a featherweight. Man, I'm so blessed, I just meditate. Peace of mind, that's what you get when you out the way.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the spot. I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Ron.
And we have a special guest with us today, Lamont Tyson from Lamont Tyson channel. We're happy to have you on our show today.
Well, thank you for having me. It's always an honor to share a platform with great creators, and I'm thankful to be back.
Likewise.
Definitely.
Likewise. And as you guys know, Tiara is now out on maternity leave, so we are rotating guests. But we're back today to discuss BMF episode 301, Detroit versus Everybody.
And I see where the title comes in. It is everybody. But hey, Meech is good. Terry, I'm not so sure of, but we'll get into that.
Yeah, we'll get into that. A little housekeeping up front. Please like, subscribe, share far and wide to everyone before we get into this recap. Appreciate that. And anyway, let's start with how it started. In the beginning, like Meech and Terry are in the Bing. In the Bing, both of them facing, well, they have been indicted. They both in the holding cell and everything. And we learned that at that point that they hadn't spoken in about 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so right there, we get the sense of this is the beginning of the end of their partnership there. And so I just wanted to ask you guys, but we'll start with Lamont, since you got guests. Like, what did you think about that exchange with Meech and Terry in the beginning?
I felt like Meech was doing what he's always tried to do in terms of taking care of his brother. Terry was being a little stubborn by saying he didn't want Meech to take the plea because they didn't really have much on Meech. The reason that they was in that situation is because they was bugging the phone calls of Terry. And so I'm trying to figure out, Terry, why are you getting on him when he just doesn't want the family to see y'all have to go to jail for life? Why are you still being stubborn, fighting your brother? And we've seen throughout the series and even in this episode, Meech just constantly tries to take care of his brother and his family. And so I just really couldn't figure out what was going through Terry's mind by not wanting Meech to take the plea.
Terry has an overreaching complex. And I think that's where we saw at the beginning with the two of them in jail. And we see that throughout this episode. I like Meech. I like the way he thinks. And he's a thinker. But Terry seems to want to control Meech as hey, I'm the big brother. You listen to me. I know what I'm doing, but at the same token, he's weak. And I'll get into that with Markeisha, because I'm telling you, man, that woman is very destructive for him. And if he doesn't get it together, man, I was hating a little bit on this show, man.
It's over. Yeah. I agree with that too, but T's the little brother, and I think with Meech is always the one that had the gift to gab. He's smart, and so is T. T is very analytical. What I noticed about T, like his approach is really abrasive, and even with his team, he is like with Meech, he's always gonna get more bees with honey. He's always gonna look for a way to finesse. He's smooth, he's gonna like, let's eat together, he's kumbaya. T's approach is like, get down and lay down.
That's what I meant.
He's like that. And it's like, that doesn't always work. That comes back to bite you sometimes. And, and to Lamont's point about why they were in this mess in the first place, the reason why they even got caught was because T was running his mouth on the phone.
But when I said big brother, I didn't mean that literally. I mean, it's just that's how T seems to want to handle Meech all the time. When clearly Meech knows. I think Meech can outthink Terry. But no, Terry is, not only street smart. T is only, but he's also book smart. But I keep finding more and more about Meech. The intelligence factor that this brother has on him is just, I mean, look, T is responsible for that breakdown of BMF, clearly.
Yeah, and I think it was both. One of the issues that Terry had with Meech was, he thought Meech was too flashy. Mm-hmm. When you watch the documentary and we know the history of those two, they had the BMF billboards and things like that. Meech was flashy, and T never agreed with that. He thought it was too much. But on the other hand, Meech was also, he was the one with the finesse, the gift of gab and things. So that's why he drew people to him, and he was able to unite folks. And whereas T, his approach was really like, because even the way he talked to Hoop in this episode, and I know I'm kind of skipping around, but I'm just saying, with Hoop, when he said, you talk to me like I'm old, and he leave any money on that nightstand. And then he was like, oh, my bad, or whatever. But he does that. He comes at people crazy sometimes. And it's difficult to work with people like that. It's only so much people are going to take from you if you come at them that way. Because you think about it, just to go back to Power for a minute, the original Power, when Dre got a little bit of power, when he started talking to 2 Bits and them crazy, when he signed 2 Bits, it seemed like that was the change of the dynamics in that relationship there and stuff. So I agree with what you guys are saying about that. And I wanted to go to the beginning of that, since we focused on Meech and Terry in the beginning, and how it fast forward to the beginning to your girl Markeisha, right? It showed the spat with the brothers in the beginning, from Detroit 2007, but then it's circled back to the night of the shootout. And Saint had lit them up, and we see T, Mr. Loverboy, riding the ambulance with Markeisha to the hospital and everything, and we're thinking she may not make it. And they get to the hospital, the fam is there and everything, including LaWanda and everything. And we saw LaWanda was ready. She was like, she don't give a F about old girl. Like,
as well, she shouldn't. Okay.
Oh, I don't blame her because, she's like, you in this predicament because of her, and I'm here carrying your baby.
So I wanted to ask Lamont before I get into it, because I'm telling you right now, I'm not clean with Markeisha. What I got to say.
No, I feel you. I feel you.
And, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Lamont.
To this day in real life, T is still with the character that's Markeisha. Her name is Tony. He's still with that person to this day.
Wow.
I've had jokes on her last season, and as you've seen, when LaWanda popped up on the scene, she had jokes too. The chick's married, she old as hell, she getting her AARP, and you out here wanting to screw her, you fresh out of high school. And the thing about that is, not only did you give the Mama Flannery an opportunity to take a dig at Dad, but all this is happening in front of Nikki.
Right.
And Nikki has seen one brother go through so much. Now he's in Atlanta, and she's worried about losing this brother. And LaWanda has every right to be mad. But the thing that I feel like that's going on with her, she's going to have to take that anger and do something better with it with her child. Because at the end of the day, you can't control his bad behavior. You can't control that he left you. And he left you in a wrong manner. He should have at least let you know, look, it's over with us. I'm not loving you, I'm not feeling you, whatever. He strung her along. And now LaWanda's got these feelings of, look, okay, you let the bee take you. And she's putting in harm's way the father of my kid's life. Not to mention that she still cares for T. So at some point in time, it'd be good for me to see a little cat fight and see LaWanda put hands on that woman before she had T baby. You know, I'm all for a cat fight. I don't need no gold paint like the Tyler Perry movie or anything like that. But you know, just some.
No, I hear you. Listen.
You kind of took the words out of my mouth. She's a cradle robber. She to me.
That's how she got him. The cougar. She put it on him. She got him. He's sprung.
Yeah, but,
exactly.
Okay, but you say you care for somebody, and sometimes if you care enough, sometimes you got to let them go. And if they come back to you, then they were meant for you to have. But when you, as you say, you are forsaking the fact that this man has a family, he has a young child, then he has one on the way. You have no respect for his lady or his parents. And, you know, and for T to be so blind and nose wide open, I mean, I could drive 2 tractor trailers up that man's nose.
He's a teenager. He's a teenager.
I get you. And you said that before, but even as a teenager, there has to be some sensibility. Now, I don't know, look, about the age.
Teenage boys, get out of here.
Look, I'm not going there, but, you know, I understand nose wide open, hormones all over the place. I get it. But sometimes you just have to take a look at things and take a step back and understand where you are with, you know, it's a chess game. And so far, T has made all the wrong moves. I don't know how that's
but you want him to have the wisdom of a
not so much
grown man.
So much,
now
no.
he's made
wait. I didn't say I want him to have the wisdom of a grown man. I want him to understand the realities of where he sits. So right now, you can't make both women happy, T. And at this point, when you got 2 babies on this side. And you got
grown men who haven't figured that out yet. You want this teenage boy to figure that out.
I got that, but at some point, it has to hit you and say, "Look, you showing up with your number 2 at your dad's house when you're
was out of pocket.
Out of pocket. I mean, you don't have to be a grown man to understand that's not.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was crazy for him to do that.
Here's the problem. The parents allowed it to happen.
Well,
there are like as much as we want to put a whole lot of onus on Markeisha, the majority of the onus goes on T. He's the one that made the decision. Like Markeisha could have been like, "Look, I don't want to mess with you because you got a girlfriend," which she did in the beginning, but then she just came right back full circle. In terms of T and LaWanda, he made the choice to still go forward with what he did with Markeisha. And the only one that LaWanda can influence in that relationship is T. And then T brings the girl to his house that needs protection, that just got him shot, and the mama allowed her to stay there.
Yeah,
and you're right about that. You're right about that, because I thought about that too. I was just like, she was like, "Oh, give him Nicole, let him stay in your room." And you can go stay and Charles can stay in that room. And I was like, no, first of all, T and him got money. He could have put her up in a hotel. He didn't have to bring her to the house.
Exactly.
And especially knowing that his family was there, LaWanda, kids, pregnant and stuff. He was really out of pocket. He definitely is on my hands list this week. Who can get the hands.
And one other thing too, as much as I support Lucille, I think she gets the hands this week because, and let me say this, you know, for you to allow T and his whatever you want to call her into your home,
paramour. We can call her a paramour.
That sounds better because I said side piece.
Okay.
Side piece.
I like them both. I like all of it, but you know, when you allow that after being stung by your husband and his impropriety, I mean, what does that say about you? I mean, because that's opening up old wounds and really not even old wounds that haven't even healed. You allow this, and it was just so interesting to me to see Lucille operate in that fashion. I actually thought she would hit the roof, but
I think because the only reason why I think she did that is because she's also still a Christian woman. And the fact
a Christian
that
woman ain't got nothing. Look, I'm a Christian brother, but let one of my kids.
But I think because her son and because he came to her, said she had just got out the house with us and the other. Now, I don't agree with the decision. I'm just saying, I'm just thinking about Lucille's character.
But like you said,
that's
if I were Lucille, I think my first impression would have been, well, how come you couldn't take her to a hotel?
That's what I said.
And that's what I'm saying. I'm agreeing with your initial point. Why
did y'all both notice that Daddy didn't say a word?
He's
already in hot. Yes, he's in hot water already.
Oh, because she already nipped his, like she cooked.
Right.
Vasectomy.
He's neutered. He's neutered.
She neutered him when she told him in the bathroom, I used to feel so safe in your arms, and now I'm going through the divorce. And then when she said, you need to sleep on the couch, and he was like, it's my house. What do you mean? And she was like, you stopped being the head of the household a long time ago. That's when he was neutered, and he knew that he couldn't say 2 words.
Right. He had no words for that. No, he had
nothing. Mm-hmm. He couldn't say nothing.
Although, I mean, I think, in Brink taking his son aside, I think like he did, to say, hey, I'm paraphrasing here, but you don't have to make my mistakes, man. You got to understand, you do have a woman here with kids. So while he had nothing to say at the dinner table, and he better not have said anything, because I don't know what he could have said to make that situation better. While Lucille was still heavily on his throat. So he was right not to say anything, but sometimes you got to check your son, because, as the father, even though you have skeletons, in your own closet, sometimes you're still the dad.
You're still the dad.
Exactly.
He could have turned it to a learning situation. Look, son, I messed up kind of similar to what you did. And now this house is about to be split. I'm going to be out.
Exactly.
But the thing is, if T is really done with LaWanda, he just needs to make it clear.
Exactly.
I mean, in the end of the day, people leave folks all the time. It's the manner in which you do it. Do it in a way, do it in a adult way so that you're not stringing people along. Or and then move on.
Or at least civil. I mean, and that's a perfect analogy of what needs to be done. And that's why I said, you can't play both ends, bro. You cannot play both ends. Because I'm gonna tell you,
I think that's what he's gonna do. That's one of the issues I have with Markeisha too. Everything that you guys said was on point about Markeisha and dealing with T. The other thing is, I think she treats and not that she doesn't have feelings for T, but I also feel like she does him like he's a yo-yo, because she's back and forth. Like she was flip-floppy last season with him. Like she's all in. She's sleeping with him stuff. Then she pulls back. I can't do this because boom, this, that, with me and the kids are doing this. And then she calls out the blue like, hey, I need to see you. Like every time he tries to make a move back towards LaWanda, here she goes pulling him back. So I don't think T is done with LaWanda. I think he go like, if something happened with Markeisha, he gonna run back to LaWanda and vice versa. He's gonna be back and forth.
And if LaWanda let him come back, then the problem is on her at that point.
There you go.
Exactly.
You go.
She has to be the one to put her foot down and say,
exactly.
This is who you chose. Stay there.
Right. Yeah, and I started to say that would be the flavor of the day for LaWanda. I mean, you have to understand that obviously he doesn't want you; he wants her, and if he. It's such a mess. I don't know how to describe it any other way than we already have. But I know Markeisha just had. I have to go and rinse my mouth out with Listerine when I just,
it's that bad.
It's that bad.
It's that bad.
Wow. It's that bad.
Wow.
It's that bad.
Wow. Yeah. I would normally say ain't nothing wrong with a little old lady. The old ladies treat you good.
And no, and look, it isn't. And to me, it isn't the fact that she's older. She's so much older, but that to me isn't as important as she not caring about anything else except at times being with him, and then just like you said to me, she gives him a little line, then she reels him in, then she gives him a little line, then she reels him
Back
in.
and forth, yeah.
Yeah, so you're not fishing for tuna. So understand what is it that we got going on here. He's young, and what you're doing is you're training him. You're
grooming
really
him, right?
Well, you say groom, I say train. Because you okay, I'll leave it there. I'm good. I'm done.
Well, she did, because he was in high school when this whole thing started. I mean, call it what it is.
Listen,
it seems worse when it's.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It just seems worse when a man is doing it to a woman, but by the letter of the law, it's the same thing.
Exactly.
And it's true, because not only that, when T was all hanging out at the hospital by her bed, waiting till she woke up and everything. And when she said it was time to come out, he got a house for her.
Yeah.
He got a house. He was like, you and the boys. He was like, we're going to be a family. I'm like, he didn't put LaWanda in a house. And he has a kid with her and one on the way. I was like, oh, he's really open.
Yep.
Which is why she has every right to be upset. She stood by that boy thick and thin.
Exactly.
And the thing, and like I said, it's just LaWanda, what are you going to do with that anger? Because she can't control him. The only thing she can control is she's going to make that boy pay massive amounts of child support. That's the only control she has over him. Other than that, she's got to take her anger and try to do something positive with it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly. And I know I wanted to piggyback on something Mont said that was key about Nicole, because Nicole always catches strays, and that's something what Ron and I had the privilege of talking to Layla Pruitt, who plays Nicole. And I said that to her, I was like, she's in the middle of everything, and she's catching the strays from everything that happens with Meech and Terry. Darius getting killed. She witnessed the infidelity with the parents, and then now she's back and forth. Like even when she was in a car with T, when the last season when the people slashed the tires and stuff and the accident that happened to her, now she's back and forth to the hospital with T, with once again he's getting shot at again and stuff. So I'm like, that's a tough position to be in too, because she's just a teenage girl.
Yeah, and again, I know we probably spent more time than we should have with T, but a good point with Nikki, because as the big brother, you have to ask yourself, what am I showing my baby sister? And those are the kinds of things that you have to kind of glean on when you have a young, your sibling like that, and how do you want her to grow up? Is this a pattern that you want to see her take? So those are the things that, as I say, even though he's young and dumb and full of what, those are the things he's going to have to try to figure out. He's going to have to figure that out and how to handle it, because his sister should mean a whole lot more to him than Miss M.
Nah, dog. The panty draws is gonna always rank higher, bro. Sorry.
Yeah.
I guess so.
And I think so. I think you're right about that. Well, we talked about T. Let's flip to Meech, because we see Meech make the transition to the A. Goldie hooked him up, referred him to Greenie, played by Neo. Neo is like the pimp down there that she referred him to, so that he can, get the lay of the land, get the hook up with, the team and everything, so he can get set up in the A. And Neo took him to the Platinum Palace and stuff, introduced him to some Detroit folks that was down with Ty Washington. R.I.P. Ty Washington. And it's a new crew, but they also from Detroit and everything. Homies seem cool, except there's one that's skeptical. 2 Chainz, Stacks, played by 2 Chainz. Yeah, and he's, we find out that he's like with the uncle to the what's it called, was like a brother. Ty was like a brother to him, but he the daughter is like his niece.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I want to go back to Neil for Green for a minute because it was interesting how when he and Meech met, Meech thought he could come in there and do his thing, with his tongue. And Meech was like, "Oh yeah, I can get you what you want, but you're gonna pay up front for it." And 15. And I like the and the fact that he's the older character. He's supposed to be about 40 years old in this character role, and so he's been around a while, and he kind of indicates that while at the palace, saying that he got out of the game more so and wanted to run this because he's been around, he's seen everything. So, but I do like the way he handled Meech though, and I also like the way Stax handled Meech. But again, Meech has got to. Stax stands like 5 inches over him, so and Stax is he's no chump. So you can't play Stax like you might play somebody else. You gotta, and so far I see a problem with those two. It's a big problem.
But Meech's way is different. Go ahead, Lamont.
It is. It's exactly right.
I was just agreeing with Ron. Something about Stax I don't trust.
Exactly.
They always pan the camera on him in certain moments to kind of insinuate that there's more to this story than what they're showing. Even when Meech cut him the $25K deal, they still would show Stax in the light, and I'm just like
he still seemed like a hater. He seemed like a hater. It seemed like it's something. Like I understand. Like maybe he's still harboring. Like maybe he blames Meech for Ty, the loss of Ty, because he said to Meech, like we're skipping around, when they were at the Platinum Palace and stuff, and then they had to end up fighting with Remy and everything. Played by Jason Louder. Shout out to Jason Louder because we talked to him before when he was on the Wu-Tang show. Right. Cool brother. Mm-hmm. So Remy, so when they got into that squabble at the Platinum Palace, and Meech stood tall, he stood on business with the Detroit team and everything. But when they got back to the house, Stax was like, there's always chaos. You always bring chaos. And I was like, oh, did you catch that? So I was just like, he looking at Meech like, you're an outsider. Mm-hmm. You an outsider. And number two, you got my man was with you when he got killed. My boy was with you when he got killed. So I really think I'm with you, Lamont. Like Meech, like he said he on board now and he took the discount and everything. We'll see, but I'm watching him because I feel like there's still an undercurrent of something.
Well, I asked the question. Yeah, during our virtual press interview, I asked Meech. In fact, I brought that up. I said there seems to be a major conflict with you and Stax, and I wanted to know if he could tell me at the time just how does that work here, because Stax will always be Stax and you will always be Meech, and there's a wall between the two of you. And I think while Meech wants to bring that wall down some, but he's doing it in such a way that he's not allowing Stax to be Stax. Stax has his own, reputation to uphold, and he is who he is.
We'll see. I don't trust him.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you, Lamont. I'm like,
but you have to trust him, though. You got to give him something because
he's the plug. He's the plug. Because as homie said, I forgot the other guy's name that seemed to really embrace Meech. Mm-hmm. He said you can't get to the plug of anybody without Stax, because he knew all of Ty's plugs and everything. So that's why Meech, his motto has always been you can get more honey with bees. So that's why I
get more bees with honey. Yeah.
More bees with honey.
Right.
Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Right. Just for someone.
Slip of the tongue.
I'm sure there are two people out there that never heard that before.
Yeah. So I feel like Meech, I like his approach better in business because he looks to try to, build the bridge. build the bridge first and stuff.
Right.
And I think that's how he was trying to come with it. Instead of being like hard nosed, like you see Terry is focused on his reputation right now. And we see that's becoming an issue back in Detroit. It's becoming an issue because, you know, he's dead set on trying to get revenge about Markeisha. And
Yeah.
so
It's like Terry playing checkers while Meech is constantly playing chess. That's the mental game. Meech is planning while Terry is reacting.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
Exactly. And you can see that too, because like when Meech called him and said, listen, I'm under this bridge and I'm looking at this and this and this, you know, like he's planning on taking over the nation. Like he sees the vision, like these bridges connect to other cities around the country. Like he can see it.
And that's
taking
my
over the
point.
world.
And that's my
and
point.
T is like, you just thinking about you rewriting history. Like he can't see it. And so
that was my whole point about Meech. I mean, to be sitting up under a bridge in a new city and then able to figure all that out and understand the connection between the highways and what that involves and what that can do for their business. That's brilliant. I would love to see him run a legitimate corporation because with his mindset, he could do so. And, you know, I wasn't that mad about the billboards because in effect, what he was doing was running a corporation. Corporations pay advertising and they certainly will get on a billboard. Sometimes the best place to hide something is in plain sight. And I think that's the mentality that Meech has. Let's just put it out there in plain sight because it kind of evades suspicion. You know who they are.
He did have a corporation.
No. I'm saying, and I guess what I'm saying that in reference to in contrary to T, because T wanted to hang low and do things under the radar, whereas Meech says, no, we're a corporation and we're going to advertise and do the things that corporations do. And like I said, sometimes the best place to hide something's in plain sight. I've lost my phone many a day and it was sitting right in front of me. So, you know, so it rings true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I think that, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Lamont.
I think that Meech, he does what bosses do, and Terry hasn't put himself in that mindset yet.
Exactly.
Meech is not getting his hands dirty. He's not handling the money. He's not handling the drugs. Usually he's not handling the killings. And you saw the beginning of him building another real legit corporation with his music with that young man that's working with him, where he told him, look, dude, when you get your music popping, get out this life. Exactly. And so when he would do the BMF billboards, the underground people knew who BMF was. But by putting that up, when the underground people would say, we with BMF, you started having people understand who it is. Then you start having your Jermaine Dupri's and people would come to him for loans. Rappers, everybody would come to these brothers for loans because, oh, they real. I see it on the billboard. But that still didn't say that he was selling drugs. Right. And T can't seem to separate that. They're looking at us anyway. Right. But if you present yourself in a way where you can stay clean, we can do it. We can do it all. We can do both.
Boom. Exactly. That's exactly where I was trying to go when I was saying that to you, Ron. When I was saying we did have a corporation, I was alluding to the fact that he did end up having a record label. And as Lamont said, you know, we can see the beginning of that while he was listening to, you know, Young Buck in there rapping and stuff and everything and telling him, because he did eventually go on to get into the music business.
Yeah, and there are, and corporations have many legs. And so, such as BMF, they have many, you know, they have multiple legs. Music is just one of them. And so that's why I love the mindset of Meech, because he sees it that way. He sees himself as a boss. He sees how he has to build a structure. And that structure has to have an organization, and has to have marketing, has to have advertising, has to have all those things that real corporations depend on a daily basis. And T has yet to follow that format.
The only format T is following is what color is his senior citizen girlfriend panty draws. That's the only thing he following right now.
And his
100.
reputation in the street, because that's what he was like. We gotta hit back. We can't have them thinking that I'm weak and stuff. And he's taking it too far, even with how he's dealing with his own people.
Right.
And
So
what was the brother's name that really hipped him to that understanding when he wanted to come? He wanted to hit Sane himself. And
Meech had told old boy and said, don't let T pull the trigger. Like he was like, so he told Soldier, like, get Sane up out of here before he did it. And old boy told him, like, look, he up out of here. Nobody has to know. Right. I'm not gonna say nothing, and you're not either.
And besides, like he said, bosses like you shouldn't be getting their hands dirty anyways. And so it seems like everybody seems to understand how the business structure works, except he.
He was being emotional because he was being emotional because he was just like, he hit at me and my woman and this, that, and the other. I'm like,
you see how
you're not a killer for real, and you want to go out here and
try to.
So that was
I can't take it.
Yeah, that was good thinking on Meech's part to say, like, hey, like to get out in front of that and say, like, hey, don't let him do it. Don't let him do it.
Ron, get used to it.
I can't, man.
Ain't going nowhere.
I know. I'm
going nowhere.
I'm gonna have to have a bottle of Listerine next to me on every episode.
Well, Lamont, I'm interested. It's interesting to hear you say that she's still in a picture because I thought I had seen that she had a problem with how she was portrayed in this show, and I didn't think that they were together. I thought he was with somebody else. I didn't think that they were still together.
Nah, the streets be talking to me, man, and they said they together, and that she did have a problem with the way she's portrayed in the story. But she's not several people have spoken up and said they've had problems with the way they're portrayed in the story. And when you have a story with this many characters, the way it happened in real life, I don't know how you please everybody,
right? Because
we always got to remember this is a dramatization.
Right.
And some people's stories have to be dramatized, whether it's legal issues, TV, you got to fit it into a TV format issue, or just narratively speaking. So I don't know how you would be able to please everybody in a situation like this.
It's called entertainment. And
exactly,
that's what it is. And you're going to have
to take, creative licenses and stuff. Exactly. And then they have that little disclaimer in the beginning, like some of this may be true, but it may not be, so they letting you know up front that they took some creative liberties and stuff for entertainment purposes.
Exactly. So Miss Cougar, sit back and just relax. Okay.
Not Miss Cougar.
Oh, wow.
No, not going there.
Not going there.
So, since we talk about Meech and Terry and where they are, you can already see, to me, I don't know, fellas, help me out if y'all see it. There's going to be conflict between Meech and T. And one of the things that made me think that way is when Terry talked about, I want to run things my way, and he made a decision that they need to move on from the record store. And I was like, you know how much music means to Meech and his dad. And so, like that was the spot that I was like, I feel like that's going to be an issue too, even though, Terry wants to have his own thing. I feel like Meech is going to feel a way about that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I agree with you because, again, T sees it as, hey, look, this is my thing now. I'm going to do my thing. And you're not looking at it from that corporate structure, So, he wants to put his stamp, his footprint on Detroit. And he doesn't have the wherefore. He doesn't have he's not thinking, and largely I blame that woman. That
Marquise, you blame her for everything.
I'm telling you, man, guys will do some crazy things when it comes to women. But okay, but enough of that. But he wants to move too quickly, and then yet so he's so sporadic with his moves at one point, and then just not following the structure that they built. He wants to change things. And you're right. Meech is going to have a problem with that once he takes a look at it and says, well, what are you doing? Is this really necessary? And running a restaurant is more than just opening one, so I don't know.
But here's the thing that's going to be a challenge, for T running things in Detroit, since he's worried about his reputation. His reputation is going to be tested by a lot of things because we see a lot of threats already, like Bryant. He's going back to Detective Bryant. Detective Bryant has been kicked off the force. He was suspended at first. His son is in the bang. Poor Kevin. He's clearly not built for it. Detective Jen has a new partner. And she seems like she's come from a privileged background, the new partner and stuff. And, so that's an adjustment. And Detective Jen is upset because all the work that she and Bryant put forward to try to get Meech and T, like it's for naught because it's somebody else is working on the task force and working on trying to get to T and everything. And now Bryant, in addition to trying to get lawyers and get money to help his son, T and Meech really got a target in their back, especially T, because T is still in Detroit. Meech is in Atlanta, but T is still there. And that's a constant reminder of, his son is behind bars, as he said to Detective Jen, whereas T and them are out there making money, living life, and stuff. So that's a threat. And then we're going to have a new threat with the big bad this season with Henrietta, like the other woman that is going to be the plug or competition for T.
Well, let me ask Lamont, because I'm struggling with what this relationship with Detective Bryant and his son. I just have I feel a certain kind of way about the way he raised him. Did he spend enough time with him? Did he show him some things that maybe would have toughened him up a little bit? Because I know I have two boys and I came from, back in the day, I was in the hood. I grew up there. But you know what? Even when they were young, I would take them to the old, I'll never forget, I took them back to my old neighborhood and something popped off and they were scared as hell. But, I showed them what the other side looks like, where you can, what it looks like. And it stuck with them. Even to this day, I've had some conversations with them and they're glad that they had a chance to see some of that. And whereas I remember with Detective Bryant, he was always a little sharp and rough with him and barking at him all the time. So, and then he gets to this point and now he wants him to man up, going to juvie. That boy won't last 6 minutes. He has nothing to draw from. And now you want to be the dad and do whatever necessary to get him out of that situation. So it's going to be interesting as this plays out, what happens to Kevin, because juvie is not a place for a young man like that.
Not at all. A lot of what's going on, everything going on with Kev is his dad's fault. We can just start by the upbringing piece. His dad never accepted the kid for who he really is. The kid is not a street banger. The kid is not an athlete. This guy is more of an artiste. He's a thespian. And because of that, that pushed Brian away, because I'm assuming Brian wanted a tougher kid, a kid who plays football, kid who's in sports, someone who's quote unquote tough. But just because your child is not into those things doesn't mean that he can't be tough. Right. And I think that if Brian would have decided that he could enjoy the things that his kid likes and spend time with them, he could have installed some of that toughness as they spend time together.
Exactly.
Bonding can rub off in many ways.
Exactly.
And he never allowed for bonding because his kid is more into art, comics, a nerd. Hell, I was a nerd, but I grew up in the hood. And when I was growing up in the hood, Black kids wasn't really into some of them were, but the new age comic stuff, they wasn't into that. They was into He-Man, Thundercats, that. But the X-Men and Marvel, they weren't into that. That was all me. And you would get clowned for that. And I didn't have a male presence around in my life. So a lot of what I guess people would deem to me to be manhood, I learned on the street. But that street learning was rough.
Yeah.
And if you have an able-bodied parent who can help guide a child into understanding, like you did, Ron, what life is like here, there, and in other places, this process he's going through could have been made better. At the end of the day, this is all Brian. This is all Coach Kopp's fault. All of it.
Okay.
All of it. That part. I agree with everything you said.
Yep.
And I mean, I feel like with Kevin, I mean, he's not built like that. Like I think about, like, I'll go back to Power a lot when I think about Kanan and his son Sean. He was always disappointed in Sean because Sean was not built like he was. He wanted Sean to be like how Tariq is with the streets and stuff, and that was not Sean. And similarly with BMF, that's not Kevin. Kevin is a good kid. Like you said, he's artistic, into his comic books. He didn't even understand even the questions that he was asking when he was behind bars. He was like, well, after I do this, then I can come home. Like he didn't understand the weight of everything that's happening to him. And I don't know what's going to happen with him, but I'm nervous for him. I'm wondering if he's going to make it out of this season. Because I'm like, will something happen to him while he's in juvie? Like, will he be, unalive? Will he unalive himself? Because he's not accustomed to this. And if something like that does happen, that will really put a target on Meech and Terry's back. Like he already has it out for them. But if something happens to his son behind all this stuff, even though this is his fault, the way he handled stuff with B. Mickey and stuff, it is his fault. But he is going to go after Terry and Meech even that much harder because he's not, as he said to Detective Jen, like, my son and my innocent son is behind bars while they're out living free, enjoying life. So I can see, I hope it doesn't happen, but I can see something happen to Kevin this season.
And I think something just as heinous could happen if he does survive juvie and comes out with a whole lot of knowledge that he didn't need to have. Because sometimes that can change you, when you're in a position like that. You can do a 180 and be the kind of guy that it's a reason that they're in juvie in the first place. So, he's either going to have to adapt, and who knows what happens if that happens, if he does that, what type of person he'll be when he gets out. So I worry, as much as I don't like him, but I do worry about Detective Bryant because I feel I feel the fear that he has and the anger that his son is behind bars or in juvie in the first place. So a lot can go, sideways with Detective Bryant as well.
Oh yeah, because first of all, he lost his source of income. Like he got kicked off the force, and to defend, to get a proper defense for his son, who had a gun that had 3 bodies on it, 2 or 3 bodies on it. He's gonna need like a top-notch, expensive lawyer. Yes, and so, desperation. What is he gonna do?
Kevin and Detective Coach Kopp, they have an insider secret weapon, and that weapon is Detective Jen. Just simply because the time she spent with Kevin, she fell in love with that little boy.
Yes, she did.
To the point where it made her reminisce about her upbringing to Coach Kopp, and eventually Coach Kopp got those Japanese draws, and we seen her take 3 or 4 bricks in this last episode. I can only speculate that has something to do with her going to try to help Coach Kopp do something to help his son. Maybe she's going to use that to frame someone so we can get his job back. Maybe she's going to give it to somebody so that it can help with the legal fee. She took them bricks probably for the reason to somehow or another help Kevin.
Dad, I'm glad you brought that up because I struggled with what the hell she was doing. And now, that makes so perfect sense that she's planning something. And you know, because I'm thinking, what in the world are you doing, you know, taking those bricks? But it makes sense.
Evidence.
Yeah. Well, you don't handle it like that if you're collecting evidence. So, you know, it's the way she took it, said that was nefarious. And I'm like, okay, you're up to something. I couldn't figure that out. But you know, thanks. That Lamont, that works for me.
Yeah, he's definitely on to something because I think she is gonna be the key. I think she probably cares more for Bryant than she lets on to. She has a distrust of the new partner because she comes from privilege. She thinks she's a nepotism baby.
I
Because
think they're good now, though. I think they're good.
they're gonna be good. I think they're gonna find that they have more in common than let on. Even though she comes from this charm background, some of the things that we're gonna learn about this cop, Jen is gonna find out that she's more.
Well, she pretty much checked Jen to let her know that I come from privilege, but I didn't use my privilege to get where I'm at today.
And
exactly.
And something else when they went to talk to Markeisha, and I thought that was very interesting coming from Detective Colby when she said, "Was the D that good?"
I like what Markeisha said.
Yeah,
Markeisha said every 2 inches of it.
He said every inch of it.
Yeah,
she says it worth of it. I was like, okay, I'm not rocking with Markeisha, but I did rock with that line, and I probably said something similar. Question about the cops, like mind your business.
Well, and the look on Detective's face was nuts.
Yeah, it was nuts. Yes, like, it almost like, well, let me find out.
Right. Like, really? I need some of that. But so I wanted to piggyback on something that we saw that was really funny with Charles when Rolla, the homie that Meech sent over there to the house to love up on mom and bring steak and greens and potatoes and flowers and stuff. That's another way that he's being neutered. Like that's how humiliating is that Meech got another young man coming up. Well, he said, I look at you like you're my mom too. But he had keys to the house. He came over there with keys and was loving on mom, which it was a nice gesture with Meech and stuff. But I can see how that could be humiliating to Charles.
Well, Charles needs to Charles, take a seat, take a deep breath, and breathe, and breathe in and exhale. Here's the thing: Meech probably didn't know. I mean, he knew about the relationship between his mom and dad, that it's pretty much heading left, wrong direction. And he was more or less thinking about, hey, let me go take care of my mom. I don't know where dad is at this point. May be in the house, may not be in the house. I don't know. So Roland, here's the keys, go do something nice for my mom, get her some groceries and things like that. That's good looking out as far as I'm concerned. Now, Charles, you happened to be there, you saw it, and I know it made you felt a little emasculated, but here's the thing, bro. You did that to yourself. Just like you said, you lost that man of the house when you doing this. I mean, first of all, you were doing your neighbor, and they always say, don't SHIT where you eat, but, and then I saw in one scene, I saw this big crater hole in his wall, and he's next door with a booty party with his neighbor fixing her stuff.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm sorry. You got to take care of home first. Home come first. Take care of that. You got this booty party with this woman next door.
Yeah.
Your house was
fixing her house up. Yeah. That was Lucille's beef last year. Last season. She said that.
Ross, she had some leaky pipes, man, and he had to come fix the pipe.
Hey,
yeah, clearly.
Do what you gotta do. But you know what? After you through with that booty party, come home and take care of some things at home. See, if you fix that wall at home, if you gotta have whatever you do is what you do, but take care of home.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. And I know we saw that Meech got into a shootout with the Miami Killers.
Yep.
and stuff. So I was like, it's a threat in Atlanta with Meech because he's trying to infiltrate their
Well, Remy's crew hits Meech, and then Remy's crew get hit by the MKs.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like, this is wow, man. So
that's what I said. They have threats on both ends because Meech is, he's trying to get set up. He's trying to get set up with, the crew, Stacks and all of them, but then he's running into the Miami Killers. He's running into Remy, and it's hard to overthrow Remy because Remy has a lot of clout in the streets. Because as we saw, Remy is like the Robin Hood of the hood, like
of Techwood Projects,
taking care of the kids, and they're being.
See, that's what I'm talking about, though. That's what I'm talking about.
Which that's respect. I did appreciate that.
You taking care of Techwood Projects, and you're right, like you said, Robin Hood. If you take care of them, guess what? They're gonna take care of you.
Right.
It's just as simple as that. Take care of
the problem for Meech. Because like you want to step on this territory, you want to be able to get Remy out of there, but the streets are on his side because he's taking care of. He's pretty much doing what Meech does. Like when Meech gets with folks, he takes care of the people and stuff. Remy is doing the same thing for his folks, and we saw Remy and his squad get beat down by the Red Dogs, which is the police that basically designed to drive the drug dealers out because they won the bid for the Atlanta Olympics and stuff. So they were trying to get them up out of there and torturing folks.
Run every drug dealer out of Georgia.
Yeah, I wrote that down. So I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah. So Remy, he got the Miami Killers, and then he's trying to meet with Glock.
Mm-hmm.
He and the team tried to meet with Glock. There's other boss there, and they were unsuccessful. He was trying to be on some peace stuff and have a conversation. His squad wasn't having it. Wasn't having it at all. It was like, nah, get up out of here.
Yeah, Glock.
It's a lot of threats on both.
It's a lot.
It's in Detroit, because trust me, Henry, she's gonna be a threat.
Oh, definitely.
Too. Because she's gonna be a threat. She's competitor and things.
And she wilding out too. She
wilding out.
She gonna be something.
Yeah, she wilding out.
But see, the thing is, if I had to put money on it, Meech is going to be the one to figure out how to unite everybody in the A. I said this on my video. I do believe the way they've set up Remy, him and Meech is going to be friends by the end of this series. Somehow, some way, you don't position this character as the Robin Hood of the hood, knowing that he's loved, he's ingratiated by a segment of people, and Meech is supposed to be a protagonist of the show. You don't set this up where they're going to have to go at it. So I'm thinking Glock or either Glock or someone in the MK Killers is going to wind up being the real protagonist, and Meech is going to help Remy fix his problems, because right now everybody's coming for Techwood. And there's going to be this huge episode, 5, 7, 8, I forgot which one, but it's going to be a battle for Techwood, basically. And I think that's when Meech is going to possibly align himself with Remy, because right now it looks like they hate each other, and I don't think that that's going to last the whole season.
And I think it's more so on Remy's side, because if Remy was the one that shot at them when they came, and then it got Ty killed, so of course Meech is feeling a way about that. And then we saw how this episode ended with him bringing Dice back. And Dice was to connect, and he was the one that told Meech, like, hey, Remy has the streets. The streets are behind him. He's taking care of folks and everything. So I agree with you, Lamont. I think that them two, they kind of have the same motto, same philosophy as far as taking care of people. So they would be better together. And they might have to unite and go against this Glock guy.
I don't know. It's an interesting concept. My thing, though, I think Meech thinks he's much farther ahead in his thoughts, in the sense that he knows he has to get the Glock if he's going to manage the ATL the way he wants to. um, getting together with Remy, because I I don't know if I could ever trust Remy after after all of what had happened. Um, and a desperate man will do anything, but once he's no longer desperate, what then? So you're always watching your back. Um, and to me, that's too heavy a project to put on my back. That is putting Remy on my back, or my getting on Remy's back to help him out. I don't know how that's all going to play out, because obviously the Miami Killers don't like Remy, and Remy doesn't like them, and Remy doesn't like Meech. Somebody's going to get rid of somebody. But
my enemy is my friend.
Exactly.
And so I can see them, uniting to get Glock up out of there.
That's a huge project.
I mean, you got to think about it like this too, like in terms of quote unquote legit business. Mm-hmm. None of these streaming services like each other. Paramount don't like it. Disney don't like Paramount. Netflix don't like them. But they all about to unite to bring you guys NFL and share the revenue. It ain't no different when you're talking about illegal street money. Mm-hmm. Whoever is the biggest, baddest on the block, and they all want Techwood. And Meech is a diplomat, and he sees the value in someone that reminds him of himself. Mm-hmm. He's going to team with that guy to take out whoever is the worst of MK or Glock and his crew. I mean, I'm almost willing to bet on that, but I ain't. But you can book it.
No, I agree with you. I do. I can see that because he is a diplomat.
I just don't know how deep right now. I don't know how deep G is, because that may make a difference as to how you go about it. And right now, I don't know. I mean, it's just the first episode, but it'll be interesting to find out just how deep G is.
And they're gonna have several threats because Glock, Green, is shady.
Particularly after
he's shady. He not to be trusted. We got to keep our eye out on Stacks. Mm-hmm. Like, is Stacks gonna be 10 toes down? We have to see. That remains to be seen. Henry back in Detroit with T gonna have to worry. She gonna test his gangster, because once they hear that T supposedly killed this person, whatever, his reputation, he's gonna be tested, and it may get to a point that he may have to actually take someone out or whatever. I think somebody's going to test T. I think that's going to happen with Henry. Bryant is going to be on his case. He's a threat. So it's going to be, and then the biggest threat to the empire, the relationship between Meech and Terry. They're gonna really bump heads over how they handle the business, because you already see they have different philosophies. And with them being in different places and T wanting to run things his own way, that's going to be an issue.
And I think the weakest link for BMF is T. And I say that because of the Markeisha factor. Mm-hmm. Because again, and I've said it before, Tiff, you can't be a gangster and a family member at the same time. You're going to have to decide which ends you want. You can't play both ends again. And I think that's where Meech gets weak, because he's always he's looking after his brother. How trying to help him in Detroit, at the same time trying to make these major moves in Atlanta and keep his own head on the shoulders. So the weakest link there to me is T, and what happens to BMF is largely dependent on T.
Well, we already seen what happened.
We already know what happened to BMF, and it was because of T.
Right.
It was because of T.
Exactly. I say that in retrospect, but at the same token, you see how it happens, because as I say, you got to make a choice. You have to make a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, T's not doing what the rappers used to say. I think Ja Rule coined the phrase MOB, money over bitches. That was Ja Rule.
There you go.
and T is not making the backwards choice.
Right.
B over money.
Right.
So
or cream. What the woo say? What the woo say? Yeah, so
and you in a sad place when you quoting rappers. That's all I can say.
Right.
Well, you can't have your cream and your dream at the same time. You got to decide which one it is.
Mm-hmm.
You got to decide. Because women, well, let me stop.
Yeah, don't get nobody in no trouble, Ron.
Yeah, particularly me. I got to stop keep me out of trouble.
Hey, do you guys think, I'm gonna ask this question and then we'll wrap it up, get to our who can get the hands, who's the gets the game ball. But this one question I want to ask, do you think that we'll see B Mickey this season?
This season? Wow.
Because T is still in Detroit. So there's a possibility they may cross paths.
Excellent question. I can't see why not, except to say that there's so much going on right now. I'm not sure where he fits in, but I don't see why we wouldn't.
I mean,
I agree. They could have him pop in for a cameo. They could have him pop in and save a situation. We could always see something like that happen. And plus, he became a fan favorite. So even if they, and they do go back and see who the fans like, that type of stuff. There's always a chance we could see him pop in one episode. Maybe not a big recurring role, but at least a moment role. Always.
Yeah. I think that. I think so too. And Lamar is still alive too. He last time we saw him, he was, he was a crackhead.
Right.
So we'll see, will he still be a crackhead? Will he, will he pop in? We'll see if we'll ever see him again or not, even if it's like a cameo or whatever. But I guess we can start with like who can get the hands. Like each of you guys could say like who's on your hands list this week.
Lamar, you start off.
And this is somebody who need to get pimp slapped on the show for their stupidity, correct?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not going to take the one I know Ron want to slap, so I'm going to leave her alone.
Hey, Lamont, you can have her. You can have her.
No, I don't want her.
You don't want her?
I don't want her.
Yeah, we already know, Ron. We already know.
Okay.
I don't want her. Okay. If I am going to give somebody the hands, I'm going to give it to Stacks because I don't trust them. Pop.
Okay.
You in a situation where y'all need work. This man is promising you work. And just because of whatever nature you feel like he had with your mans, you're going to say you don't want to take his work. So I'm going to give him the hands because, look, this is a situation that can benefit everybody. At the very least, see if this man can provide what he claims he's going to provide. You didn't really want to do it, so you get the hands from me. I don't trust him.
Okay.
Ron, go ahead and say it. We already know.
Yeah, Miss Lucille, you get the hands for me.
Oh, you give Miss Lucille the hands.
Yeah.
And not
Wait. I wanted to save her for last. She's the one that makes me have to use Listerine in every episode. As I said, I give Lucille the hands because she allowed that situation with T and Markeisha coming in like that. Markeisha definitely gets my hands and my feet and anything else I can throw at her. Because I'm sorry, I just don't like your game plan. I don't like the way you made T look like a fool, and you continue to do so, and you're ruining his household at the same time. I have nothing to say, or I have no good feelings about you at all. So that's how I see it.
Well, T is getting the hands from me because for all the things you just said, because it wasn't just on her. He allowed these things to happen, and he messing up the business, trying to be hard and stuff, and not listening. So, So right now, T gets the hands from me. Now, next week talk about the game ball, and the game ball for us is like the MVP. So who gets the game ball for y'all for this episode?
Meech.
I don't see how Meech can't get it. Meech definitely get the game ball.
He gets the game ball for me too.
Yeah.
And we can share it. We can, have a consensus on that.
I mean, the way he's thinking, the way, his moves, he is, I like everything he's doing, or at least trying to do. And unfortunately, he has to try to hold up Detroit because of his brother T. But so far, what I see in Meech, I enjoy. I love it.
Oh, absolutely. He went to another city, set up shop. He got a team, he got a squad and everything. The way he's moving, standing on business, like even when, he let them know that he was a rider. Because when Remy and them came up in the joint, he threw the first punch. You let them know, like, I ain't no punk. So yeah, Meech gets the game ball this episode. Any predictions for next week before we get out of here?
You got what y'all calling the girl, the Detroit chick, Henry. I don't want to butcher her.
Yeah, Henrietta.
Yeah, Henry.
Yeah, she looked like she's going to be a problem.
Oh, she's definitely going to be a problem.
And we've already seen how T behaves under pressure. So trust me, probably 3, 4, 5 of his right-hand man going to have to stay on the phone with Meech, because this chick, she looks older, and we know he has a susceptibility to older women. I'm just saying he's going to need all the support he can get dealing with her. She looks like she's going to be a problem.
Yeah, she's definitely going to be a problem.
The storyline says she's in her 20s. And so she's probably a few years older. For me, is Detective Bryant. He's at a existential point that he's going to go left. He's going to do whatever he has to do to try to save his son, and it's not going to be pretty. He's going to have to go to some dark places.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that, because he's going to be desperate and everything. And again, I'm concerned. It may not be next episode, but I'm concerned for Kevin.
Oh yeah.
Period. This season, I hope he makes it out. But I'm nervous for him. So I think this has been a good discussion. Is there anything that I missed that we need to pick up on?
No, we covered the gambit, so
I think
and
Lamont did. I think we did. We jumped around and everything. We still covered the gambit.
And Lamont,
but
your expertise and your intelligence, par none.
Yeah.
Whoa. That sounds like when they used to talk about Barack Obama. He's a well-spoken, intelligent black man. Like we come from Mars or some shit.
Well, fortunately,
I'm playing with you, Rod.
No. I get it, because and you know what? I throw us our treats every time I can, man. Because as you said, from your show, how you speak about these things, you're up on it. Man, I mean, all you can do was lighten our show. I mean, it just, I like talking.
I like talking the context that you're able to bring.
Yeah, and everything. That's refreshing, man. I mean, it's just,
I just appreciate the opportunity to just network with good content creators such as you guys. You guys give back in so many ways. Fans don't oftentimes get to see the hard work that is put behind the videos and live streams. Unless they go follow you guys on Instagram, then you will get to see it. But you guys work really, really hard, do a lot of hard work behind the scenes. And I just want to be in the graces of greatness. So that's why I keep
thank
coming
you.
back.
And likewise too. I respect everything that you're doing too, because I saw, follow your show, follow you on the gram. I know what you're doing with, we're writing the script writing and stuff, Ron and I write too and stuff. And we know, how tough that is, especially to try to get in with the industry. And I definitely want to see like all Black content creators win.
Sure. And I like the phrase "iron sharpens iron," and that's what we got going on, my brother. So, I love the group.
So you're welcome back anytime.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome back anytime, and I appreciate the discussion today. I had a lot of fun talking to y'all, and we'll wrap that up. We'll wrap this up. Thank you guys for watching. Please follow us on all our social media channels: IG, X, Facebook, TikTok. click the notification bell so you know whenever a video drops. Subscribe to our channel, tell a friend, tell a friend. And so with that being said, we're out. See you next week for episode 302.
Good night.
Night.
Frank Banley. Let's go. Yeah, make it look easy. Hey, stand up guy on 10 toes. Big body pull up in a Range Rover. I can change the whole game when I say so. I pull up, shut it down, yeah, they know. Running this game ain't a thing for me. I never switched up, no change in me. The only thing changing this season, you go against me, then you know that you tweak.